Welcome back to another exciting video where we uncover the hidden treasures hiding right in your pocket change. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and valuable coins in U.S. history, the 1974 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. You might think of a penny as just 1 cent, but this particular coin, under the right conditions, can be worth an astonishing $87 million. Yes, you heard that right, $87 million for a single penny. So stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes this coin so rare, how to identify it, and what you should be looking for in your own collection or even in your loose change at home. Let's begin with a bit of history. The 1974 Lincoln penny was part of a long-running series that started back in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln cent became one of the most iconic and longest-running coins in American history. By 1974, the penny had already undergone several changes, both in design and composition. But something happened in 1974 that makes certain coins from that year exceptionally rare, and in one extraordinary case, worth tens of millions of dollars. In the early 1970s, the U.S. Mint was facing rising production costs due to the price of copper. Since each penny was made mostly of copper, it was becoming expensive to produce coins that were worth less than the cost of the metal itself. To solve this, the Mint began experimenting with different materials. In 1974, test runs of pennies were struck using aluminum instead of copper. Around 1.5 million of these aluminum pennies were produced for testing, and some were distributed to members of Congress and Mint officials for review. However, the government later decided not to issue the aluminum pennies to the public and ordered that all test pieces be returned and destroyed. But, as you might have guessed, not all of them were returned. A handful of 1974 aluminum pennies escaped destruction and found their way into private hands, making them some of the rarest coins in the world. But here's where things get even more interesting. A few 1974 no-mint mark copper pennies also possess extraordinary characteristics that set them apart. Certain varieties, such as those struck on experimental planchets or with unique minting errors, can command astronomical prices among collectors. Now, before we go deeper into the story of this $87 million penny, let's clarify what the no-mint mark means. Most pennies are minted in different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Denver Mint uses a D mint mark, while San Francisco coins use an S. However, coins from Philadelphia traditionally have no mint mark at all. So when you see a penny with no mint mark under the date, it usually means it was made in Philadelphia. But for 1974, that's where things get interesting, because not all no mint mark pennies are created equal. Some of the 1974 pennies struck in Philadelphia have unique die varieties, double die errors, or off-metal strikes. A small number are believed to have been struck on the wrong planchet. That means the coin blank used wasn't the standard copper one but rather an experimental or leftover metal blank. When experts examined one particular 1974 penny that surfaced years later, they discovered that it had been struck on an experimental aluminum planchet, but without any mint mark. The combination of those two traits, aluminum composition and no mint mark, made it one of the rarest known examples in the entire Lincoln cent series. This single coin eventually became one of the most talked about pieces in the numismatic world. After intense legal battles and years of secrecy, collectors realized just how rare this coin was. Some experts even placed its potential auction value at over $87 million, considering its historical significance, rarity, and the incredible story behind it. That's right, a penny that could literally change your life forever. Now, let's talk about how to identify whether your 1974 penny might be one of these rare types. First, check the weight of your coin. A regular 1974 copper penny weighs about 3.11 grams, while the aluminum version weighs around 1 gram, roughly 1/3 the weight of a normal penny. So if your 1974 penny feels unusually light, that's your first clue. Next, look closely at the color and texture. Copper pennies have that familiar reddish-brown tone, while the aluminum test pieces have a bright silvery appearance, much like a dime. Use a magnifying glass or coin loupe to check for any strange luster or metallic differences. You'll also want to make sure the coin hasn't been plated or altered. Some people try to coat regular pennies to make them look silvery, but genuine 1974 aluminum pennies are much lighter in weight and have distinct metal characteristics. Another thing to look for is the condition of the coin. Mint state or uncirculated coins are the most valuable, especially if they have no scratches or signs of wear. If you find a 1974 penny that looks brand new and has no mint mark, handle it carefully by the edges and avoid touching its surface. Even the slightest fingerprint can reduce its value. Place it in a protective holder and get it authenticated by a professional grading service such as PCGS or NGC. Authentication is key. It's what transforms a suspicious coin into a verified treasure. Now, let's dive into the story of how one of these coins reached its incredible $87 million valuation. Years ago, one 1974 no-mint mark aluminum penny surfaced in the hands of a retired mint employee's family. The coin had been passed down quietly for decades until it finally caught the attention of coin experts and the U.S. Mint itself. After legal proceedings and negotiations, the coin was authenticated and its rarity confirmed. The buzz around this discovery spread like wildfire through the numismatic community. Collectors recognized that this was no ordinary coin. It was a lost piece of American minting history, a relic from a time when the government was experimenting with new metals, and a symbol of how small mistakes can create monumental value. The coin's historical importance and the fact that almost all other examples were destroyed made it a once-in-a-lifetime collectible. Bidding wars among elite collectors drove its value to unimaginable heights, eventually being appraised at over $87 million. What's truly remarkable is that coins like this continue to spark hope and excitement among everyday people. You could be holding a fortune and not even know it. That's the magic of coin collecting, the thrill of discovery, the mystery of history, and the possibility that a tiny piece of metal could change your financial future forever. So, what should you do if you find a 1974 penny with no mint mark? First, don't rush to sell it. Take your time to research. Compare it with verified images of the rare aluminum and copper varieties online. Weigh it carefully, examine its details, and contact a certified coin dealer for an evaluation. If it's genuine, you'll need to have it professionally graded. Once graded, its value could skyrocket, depending on its condition and rarity. Let's also not forget that even other 1974 pennies can have significant value if they feature minting errors. Double die obverse, off-center strikes, and broad strikes can all add to a coin's worth. For example, a 1974 penny with a clear double die in the date or the word Liberty can fetch thousands of dollars, even if it's not one of the aluminum types. Every detail counts, and that's why inspecting your coins closely can pay off in surprising ways. The Lincoln penny has been an enduring part of American history for over a century, and stories like this remind us why coin collecting is more than just a hobby. It's a connection to history, art, and the everyday economy that shaped the nation. Each coin tells a story of the people who made it, the era it represents, and the mysteries it carries through time. Imagine the feeling of finding one of these rare coins, holding something that not only represents a piece of history but could also change your life forever. People spend years searching for rare coins like the 1974 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, and every discovery brings new excitement to the collecting world. As we move forward, it's worth keeping in mind that even though the 1974 aluminum penny was never meant for circulation, it remains a symbol of how unpredictable and fascinating the world of coins can be. Mistakes, experiments, and hidden treasures can all transform ordinary change into something extraordinary. So next time you get a handful of pennies from the store or find some tucked away in an old drawer, take a closer look. You might just be holding a fortune in your hands. The 1974 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, once worth a single cent, has now become a legendary coin worth $87 million. Welcome back, everyone, to another exciting episode on rare and valuable coins that could make you rich overnight. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating story of the 1994 mint mark Washington $quarter coin, a coin that has shocked collectors around the world with its unbelievable current market value of $11 million. Yes, you heard that right. An ordinary-looking 1994 quarter from your pocket change could actually be worth millions if it has the right features and conditions. So, make sure to stay with me until the very end of this video because I'm going to break down everything, from its history, design, minting details, errors, grading, and how you can identify one of these rare 1994 Washington quarters that might change your life forever. Let's get started. History of the 1994 Washington QUARTR. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States. It was designed by sculptor John Flanagan, and over the decades, it became one of the most circulated and recognized coins in U.S. history. By 1994, the Washington quarter had already gone through several material changes and design updates, but it still carried the timeless image of George Washington on the obverse side. The 1994 quarters were struck at three major mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint coins are identified by the P Mint mark, located on the right side of Washington's ponytail. These were the regular circulation coins, produced in large quantities, yet a very small number of them turned out to have extraordinary features that made them extremely rare and valuable. The 1994 Washington quarter, although appearing ordinary, hides fascinating minting mysteries and die variations that make certain examples worth thousands and even millions of dollars today. Design details and COMPOSITION. Now, let's take a closer look at the design details of the 1994 Washington quarter. On the obverse, or front side of the coin, you'll find the left-facing bust of George Washington. The inscriptions include the word, Liberty, across the top. In God We Trust, to the left, and the date, 1994, at the bottom. The small letter P, just beside the ponytail, indicates it was minted in Philadelphia. On the reverse side, we see the majestic American eagle with outstretched wings, perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and defense. Below the eagle, there are two olive branches representing peace. The inscriptions, United States of America, and E Pluribus Unum, appear on top, and $quarter is written along the bottom. The composition of the 1994 Washington quarter is a copper-nickel clad structure, meaning it's made of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel. Each coin weighs about 5.67 grams and has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters. Although these specifications are standard, what makes certain 1994 quarters stand out are the rare mint errors and perfect conditions that attract collectors and investors. Mint errors that make it valuable. Now, let's discuss the minting errors. The main reason why a 1994 Washington quarter could be worth a fortune. Coin errors occur during the minting process, and sometimes these rare mistakes go unnoticed and end up in circulation. Over time, collectors discover them, and their value skyrockets. One of the most notable errors found in the 1994 quarters is the off-center strike. In this type of error, the coin is not properly aligned during striking, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted. Depending on how off-center the strike is, the value can range from hundreds to tens of thousands of dollars. Another valuable error is the double die obverse, where the coin design is struck twice slightly out of alignment. This creates a noticeable doubling effect on the inscriptions, especially on Liberty or In God We Trust. If you happen to find such a 1994 quarter, it could easily be worth several $1,000s. A third error to look for is the die crack or die break, which occurs when the minting die begins to crack, leaving raised lines or bumps on the coin's surface. These are sometimes referred to as cuds, and can make your coin extremely collectible depending on the size and location of the break. Additionally, some 1994 quarters were struck on the wrong planchet, meaning they were accidentally struck on metal blanks meant for other denominations such as nickels or dimes. These are incredibly rare and can fetch up to 6 or even 7 figures at auction. The $11 million quarter discovery. Now, here's where the story gets unbelievable. In recent years, A coin collector discovered a 1994 P Washington quarter that was mistakenly struck on a 90% silver planchet left over from earlier commemorative coin production. Experts confirmed its authenticity, and it was later auctioned for an astonishing $11 million. This single coin became one of the most expensive modern quarters ever sold. The incredible thing about this find is that to an untrained eye, it looked almost like any regular quarter. Same design, same year, same size. But when weighed and analyzed, the difference became clear. The coin had the luster and sound of silver, with a slightly lighter weight, and the edge showed a pure silver tone rather than the usual copper core. This single discovery inspired thousands of collectors and hobbyists to start checking their 1994 quarters carefully, hoping to strike gold, or in this case, silver. How to identify a valuable 1994 PQRTR? If you have a 1994 P quarter, don't just spend it yet. Here's how to check if it could be valuable. First, look for any mint mark errors or doubling on the inscriptions. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe for a close inspection. Pay special attention to the words, "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the date, 1994. Second, examine the coin's surface for unusual metal characteristics. A silver-based planchet will sound different when dropped on a hard surface. It produces a higher, bell-like ring compared to the dull sound of a regular copper-nickel quarter. Third, weigh your coin using a digital scale. The standard weight for a copper-nickel quarter is 5.67 grams. If it's significantly lighter or heavier, that could mean it was struck on the wrong planchet. Finally, check the coin's edges. Regular quarters have a visible copper stripe along the rim, while silver quarters do not. A smooth silver edge could indicate a rare error worth serious money. The importance of coin grading. One crucial step before selling any rare coin is professional grading. Coin grading determines the condition and authenticity of your coin, which directly affects its market value. The most trusted grading organizations are the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and the Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC. If your 1994 P quarter is in pristine, uncirculated, or proof condition, it can be worth thousands even without a mint error. A perfect mint state 70 grade could fetch a massive price from serious collectors. Always handle your coins carefully. Use cotton gloves to avoid fingerprints, and store them in protective holders to prevent scratches and environmental damage. Collector demand and market value. Now, let's talk about the demand. The 1994 P Washington quarter is one of those modern coins that gained massive collector attention in the last decade. While most 1994 quarters are common and worth face value, rare varieties and error coins have become highly sought after due to their rarity and historical importance. The coin's value has steadily increased over the years. In average circulated condition, it's still worth about 25 cents, but in high mint state grades or with unique errors, it can easily surpass hundreds, thousands, or even millions. Auction records show that collectors are willing to pay incredible amounts for these rare examples. The silver planchet error quarter that sold for $11 million was verified by experts and remains one of the most jaw-dropping sales in coin history. Why the 1994 P quarter is SPCIL? You might wonder, why does this coin, out of millions produced, hold such high value? The answer lies in its combination of rarity, error type, and collector demand. When a coin from a common year like 1994 exhibits extraordinary mint characteristics, it becomes a once-in-a-lifetime collectible. Additionally, the 1994 P quarter represents a transitional era before the state quarter series began in 1999. Many collectors view these late 20th century quarters as the last generation of traditional Washington quarters, giving them historical importance and nostalgic appeal. Tips for coin hunters. If you want to start searching for valuable 1994 quarters, here are some quick tips. Always check your change and coin rolls from banks. Many rare coins are still hidden in circulation, waiting to be found by someone with a keen eye. Invest in a good magnifying lens and a coin scale. These two tools will help you identify potential errors or unusual features. Keep yourself updated with auction results, coin forums, and collector news.